What's going on, people? As I mentioned this morning, I promised to make this video because I have a question for Black Americans. What did you do that would turn the world against you? Even when it comes to the so-called Black American, there are so many Black Americans, Africans, those from the Middle East, and even to this day, white people. Now, we've come a long way since the 60s. And I can only speak on the 60s because I grew up in the 60s. I knew how things were in the 60s when it comes to race relations. But not long ago, you had people from just about every culture marching and protesting Black Lives Matter. When George Floyd was deleted by that police officer, you had people across the globe supporting Black Americans. But today, in 2024, it appears that those same people have turned sour towards Black Americans. Even you have Black American content makers like Tommy Sotomayor. He despises Black American women. Just about every video that he creates, he's bitter towards Black American women. What did they do to this man to make this man despise them so much? I watch videos of the Hodge twins. Now, I really don't care too much for them like I used to. I used to watch their content when they were just the Hodge twins, when they were working out with the weights. But now it appears that whenever they speak on Black Americans, they have negative vitriol against Black Americans. And I'm using the term vitriol because of YouTube. There's other words that I could use. But Black Americans now have changed places with the so-called white supremacists. You have Tommy Sotomayor that have David Duke on his platform and appears to agree with David Duke. He even chooses topics where he's able to put down Black Americans. He forget the fact that he's a very dark American, Black American male. But he's got so much hatred towards Black women that he speaks so much venom towards Black American women. The Hodge twins are the same way. Now, I thought this was just going to be about people like Tommy Sotomayor and the Hodge twins, but I ended up on this Black woman's channel. And a lot of people know who she is, okay? And when I got on there, I thought maybe that her mindset towards Black men would change. But when I went to her site, in the comment section, and the topic that she was speaking on was like being in a Klan rally back in the 50s and the 60s. You would think that these were white people that were saying these things. And there were Black women in the comment section that was saying not to have or produce children by Black men. They've always been saying this, but this one particular woman spoke out and said that she thanked God. Listen to this. She thanked God that her son, her Black son, is autistic. Let that set in for a moment. She thanked God that her Black son was autistic. So she cursed her black son. She was thanking the Most High that her black son was cursed with autism. What a thing for a mother to say about her own child. What happened in her life, in her relationships, that would turn her so bitter that she would praise God for cursing her own child? Black women are bitter because of the fact that Kamala Harris lost the election. And I mentioned in the past that I was quite surprised that a lot of black American men supported Kamala Harris simply because Kamala Harris was running her campaign on aborting unborn black children, had picked up the mantle of the woman that created Planned Parenthood, Margaret Sanger, that allegedly said that she wanted to exterminate blacks like weed. And now you have black males and females making her dream come true. So now not only white supremacists that black people always complain about, not only white supremacists are against you, and they're not that active nowadays because there's not really a white supremacist really have to do because black Americans are doing it for them. Black people are destroying black people for the so-called white supremacists that black Americans always complain about. And then you have those foreigners that set up businesses in the black neighborhoods. Asians and those from the Middle East that now despise black Americans but yet will come in your neighborhoods and capitalize off of you like the Democrats capitalized off of you. And notice you don't hear anything about Kamala Harris nor Hillary Clinton. The only time you see them is during election time, and that's when they come into church and they talk about how they used to do this and how they wash greens in the bathtub, and Hillary Clinton carrying a bottle of hot sauce in her purse. They're playing games with your mind, and you fall for it every single time. Because it's not that you want a better life for yourself and your family, but you want the right to murder your unborn child. So what did black people do to black people or the world to make the world hate you so much? What happened? What happened? Because now you take the case of P. Diddy and you take the case of Jay-Z, and you have black Americans that's destroying the people that have made it, the celebrities that you worship, T.D. Jakes, R. Kelly. You don't hear too many white people throwing their own people under the bus like black Americans do. Black Americans are the ones that's leading the charge to destroy your own celebrities, your own black leaders, throwing them under the bus, and you support people that don't look like you. You would go to the extremes of changing your appearance and how you speak and how you act and who you keep company with. Just as long as it's not someone that look like you. Why do you hate yourself so much? Why do you despise yourself so much? And I ask the question again, what did black Americans do to make black people and the world despise you. Haven't you noticed that? Or do you really care? There used to be a time where the black population was growing, and now you find the Hispanic population now, there are more Hispanics now. Their population had exceeded the so-called Black Americans, and Black Americans were here before them. Why are Latino population growing much faster than Black Americans? Well, because Black Americans are executing each other. They're not only taking each other out, but now Black women are on a mission to abort their unborn child, stopping their unborn child from even existing, never giving them a chance to live. Keep in mind, they're not trying to prevent from getting pregnant. It's almost like they're purposely getting pregnant just to destroy the child in the womb. It's like Black American women have so much vitriol and hatred towards herself that she would refuse to protect herself from getting pregnant, but will get pregnant just to be able to say, I have the right to destroy your life. I have the right to either allow you to live or destroy you at birth. And they're quick to tell Black men, I gave birth to you. I carried you for 9 months. Always reminding Black men that Black men came out of a Black woman. So because Black men came out of that Black woman, he now has to worship her. You have to worship her. If you reject one woman, well, your mama's Black. Your auntie's Black. If a Black man chooses to date outside of his race, your mama's Black. You hate yourself. Although she's got the freedom to date anyone she chooses, and while she's dating everyone else she chooses, she's now speaking ill about Black men and telling this other person why she chooses not to date Black men, because Black men are now rapists, Black men are gay, and she supports a Black man being a homosexual. See, Black women are not trying to save their children or save their Black boys, and they're training their young girls up to despise the Black male race. But then Black men are growing up to despise themselves because they were taught by their mother. They was rejected by their father and their mother. So they grow up unprotected in the criminal system and destroyed. If they're not destroyed physically, if their life is not taken, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, they're destroyed. And they're destroyed so bad that when you come to them with a message to try to lift them up, they in turn on you and try to destroy you. You now become their enemy because you try to save them from a life that they become so accustomed to. And you know what? What's sad is the fact that you have Black females out there that would allow themselves to get in a relationship or marry a so-called Black American male just to destroy him. She's not with him because she loves him. She's with him because she wants to destroy him financially, emotionally, psychologically, and even physically at times. As long as he's giving her and catering to her, she loves him. But the moment he's not able to do those things, he's now a dusty, he's no good, and she prefers other races over him, regardless of what that other race would do to her. The other race would do worse to her than that was ever done by a black man, but yet she would still praise that white man, or she would praise that Asian, or she would praise that African that don't respect her at all. But when it comes to black American men, she's got so much vitriol towards him. And now we have so many so-called black men that have so much hatred and vitriol towards black women that he not only dates outside his race, but he brags about it and talks about how evil black women are. As the Bible says, the whole house is sick. So I was in that chat room where that woman was, and there was so much hatred in there towards black men. It was like being in a Klan rally. And I said, I'm like, wow. I made a comment in there, and I said, wow, I said, so much demonic energy and hatred in here. And they were talking about not giving birth to black children. What did that child do to you? Is it because that child looks like you? And the one black female, like I mentioned, said that she thanked God that her child was autistic. Her black male child, she thanked God that he was autistic. And I had to get out that chat room. I had to get out of there. You know, I had to leave that chat room, and I could not believe what I was actually reading. I couldn't believe it. So in one day, you had Tommy Sotomayor, you had the Hodge twins, and then you had, what's her name? Cynthia G. That was her chat name. Cynthia G. And the whole topic was against black people. So much hatred. Black people are destroying themselves. It's got nothing to do with racism, because the real racists don't have to do anything now because you're destroying yourself. Whenever you look on these videos on X or on Instagram and even on YouTube or TikTok, you always see black females and black men, mainly black females, are fighting, acting like animals. You see black men locked up behind bars and being savaged. They're being a savage. And then you wonder why the world thinks about you like they do. You wonder why other black Americans really don't want to be who they are, because of the embarrassment that this generation has caused. So now we're going to have a whole generation of blacks destroyed in order for a new generation to be born. And hopefully that new generation won't be like the last two generations that we actually had to witness. So again, in spite of all that I said, black Americans, what did you do to make the world despise you so much? And I've already answered the question, but I want you to comment and tell me what you think, or even if you even think that this generation of black Americans are so bad. Africans despise you. You now even have Africans darker than we are that refer to you as an N-word. They called you the hard R N-word. You have Middle Easterns referring to you as the hard R N-word. And you accept it like it's the norm. I see something happening now with Black Americans, and maybe a few people can see it now, where Black Americans are not only being replaced, but completely wiped out, and they're being wiped out by their host, their mother. The father creates them, the father runs out on them, the mother destroys them. So fellas, this is not a video where I'm bashing Black women. It's not. Because you share the responsibility of the condition of your community. Go up into these schools, in these Black schools, and see what your child is learning. Your child is being pushed through a system without learning anything. They're pushing them through for the numbers. And then when you so proudly go to your child's graduation, and they're wearing that cap and gown, and when all the excitement is over and you're glorifying the degree, you have it up on the fireplace or the mantle, and now it's time for this young person, it's time for their life to begin. And where do you see them going? The funeral homes are making a killing, no pun intended, off of Black Americans, because they're burying that same child that you were so proud of when they received their high school diploma. And then even the ones that get a college degree or college educated, they just have bragging rights. Oh, I'm college educated. Like Black women, oh, we're the most educated people out of everybody. Nobody's more educated than we are. Black women are just filling the colleges. And then you have Joe Biden that would put Black women up to fight his personal wars. And after he finished using you and helping you to destroy yourselves, then he kind of throw you to the side. He have no more use for you. Just look at what's happening to Mayor Adams in New York. As long as he was playing their game, he was their little pet. But the minute he started speaking out against illegal immigration and those open borders, oh, now they have to put him down. He's a rabid animal. So I'm all over the place. I understand that, but there's just so much that I see that's happening. And it's like Black Americans don't care. And they have so much venom against each other. Black women are attacking Black men because Black men did not support her in destroying her own seed. That's what the Democrats ran on, aborting Black children. They had no other goal or ambition but to give you the right, and then they tell you, oh, just wait. You're going to be, Trump is making it so that the police is going to destroy you. You just wait to see what happened to you. She's wishing harm upon Black men because Black men did not vote Democrat. So now Black women are the enemy of Black men. There's a few that's left. But it's at a point now where you really can't, listen, fellas, you have to be careful who you lay down with, man. And I've always said in the past, you lay down with dogs, you're going to wake up with fleas. You know, because a lot of these Black women are not with you because they love you. They've made songs and movies telling you what love got to do with it. Ain't nothing going on but the rent. You need a job if you want to be with me. They're telling you that they're high maintenance and they're up for sale. As long as you're producing and giving them, they're happy. They don't love you, but they're happy. And they would even go as far as giving birth to your child just to make some money off you. But they really don't love those kids. They love what you can do for them. But the minute you get hurt or you can't produce, or you're no good, you're dusty. And I shared a story one time about this woman that came in my store, and her husband worked for Chrysler or New Process Gear, and he was making a lot of money. He made a lot of money. All she had to do was stay home, take care of the home. But he would come home and give her his paycheck, and she would go out and splurge it, After she paid the bills, she would splurge the rest of his money. Give him a couple of $100 out of it. Well, that brother got injured on the job, and he couldn't work no more. He was disabled. And he was collecting disability. She cheated on him, kicked him to the curb. And I asked her, why would you do that? He's a good dude, man. It's like, as long as he was providing, you was happy. She said, I'm high maintenance. She says, no one told him to go out there and get hurt. So I'm high maintenance. And she had no shame in her game of kicking him to the curb when he got injured on the job and could not produce anymore. Do you want to be with someone like that? Do you want to produce with someone like that? Why would you do that? And then you wonder why you're in child support system and your children are turned against you. She turned the child against you, made you to be a bad guy. She wouldn't allow you to see the child or have anything to do with the child, just pay child support. And then when the child grew up, now the child's got vitriol against you because she put in the child's head that you didn't want nothing to do with him. So now the child is walking around that you don't know. You have not bonded with that child. So that child now carry out anger and animosity towards you because the mother created that in that child. So why would you want to subject yourself to that? So many black females have become unattractive to black men. Black men don't want. And I understand what Dr. Umar Johnson is saying about the snow bunnies. And snow bunnies could be the same way. But I see a lot of brothers, man, with other women that's married a whole lot longer and doing quite well. And the ones that didn't make it, the white women are still by his side. They're friends. And he still takes care of his kids. Meanwhile, in the black community, it's ghetto. Black people are worse than they were back in the 60s and the 50s. You're worse. You're a whole lot worse now. You may have a few, gimmicks or cell phones, or you may have a vehicle, but you're worse off. And you have illegal migrants coming here, starting businesses on the street. And they're telling you how awful you are. They're telling you you're here with all these opportunities and you don't take advantage of them. Although when they come here, the government gives them, the Biden administration gives them everything. But then would tell you when you ask for reparations, oh, we'll go broke. This country will go broke. But look at the money that they're sending to Ukraine. Look at the amount of money they're still giving Ukraine before Trump takes office. And a lot of y'all are walking around still snarling at Trump. You still think black men that voted for Trump are your enemies. But your enemies are the ones that you're supporting, that you're risking, that you risk your own generation or bloodline. You risk it for the Democrat Party and receive nothing in return. You were even told by a Democrat not to spend time with your family members on Thanksgiving. But yet they were home spending time with their families. And I guarantee you their families think different than they do in some cases. But yet you're listening to them and you turned your back on your family, you turned your back on your husband just because of the fact that he did not vote for an Indian woman to be president that you guys created and made her black. It's sad. So we're dealing with white supremacy with a black face. White supremacy and black Americans have switched sides. And you got people like the Hodge twins and Tommy Sotomayor now have David Duke on their platform, and they keep talking about blacks. And the Hodge twins kept trying to talk about blacks and put blacks down. David Duke kind of laughs and says, no, I'll let you talk about that. But it's sad, man. We don't know who is on our side. We don't have no allies at all. Who are the allies of the so-called black Americans? You have none. So feedback, tell me what you think. Brothers, be careful who you lay down with. You lay down with dogs, you will wake up with fleas. Until next time, I'm fearless.